press here. Oh, okay. So maybe this red dot is not connected in this version with the actual recording. Okay, anyways, I suppose things are good. So again, if you like, you can always take a look on those materials. If you like, surely, since it's impossible to give a material like a word to word exactly, so you should understand that each class is kind of different, even if it's for the same subject, right? And with the same title. So just don't be shy to visit the link if you like. All right, so all of our classes will be recorded, so they will be located exactly here in the room for video lectures. So you'll be able to look at the recordings during this semester. Afterwards, as far as I know, those materials, video materials, will be erased. Okay, so what we will need to do? The first of all, we will need to get the Python itself, because the Python actually is a scripting language, so we need to have interpreter on our machines. So we can visit python.org. Yeah, and you can download the latest, for example, the latest Python version. Okay, you see that I'm using the macOS, but I have Parallels desktop, so I literally will be using a Windows system. And what's about operating systems on your side, guys? Which systems do you use? Do you use Linux, Windows, or maybe macOS?
Ubuntu.
Oh, Ubuntu. Okay. Okay, what's about others? Guys, don't be shy to answer. Don't be shy to write in the chat. I'm not gonna bite you for that. Please don't worry, guys. Okay, so at least two are using Windows. Okay, good. What about others? Okay, the third is using Windows. Okay, and looks like we're missing one of the students, I suppose. Okay, okay. So guys, just remember, don't be shy to write your questions and answers in the chat. All right. So yeah. So you will have to download that and you will have to install it. In the installer, when you will be doing that, there will be a text which literally says if to put the Python in the path environmental variable. So you have to activate that option, and that will mean that the Python will be available from whatever folder on your computer, which actually is the more preferable way for working. Okay, well, as far as I know, there's even portable Python. If you are not capable to install something, maybe you're using maybe some computer from your workplace where it's impossible to make installation or whatever else. Um, well, if you will need that, I can take a look in the Google and I can just share the link. But so if you will need that, hit me a message and before the next classes, which we'll have on the Wednesday, I will give you a link for the portable Python. All right. So so what I'm gonna do? Um, I'm gonna open a Windows system. Mm-hmm. That's cool. And I will open the presentation right here because I will be using exactly this Windows system, and I will be just copying a lot of things from the presentation. Okay, let's somehow modify the size of the slides. Okay, this is good. Well, literally, about the history of the Python itself. So, um, the first steps of the development happened a few decades ago. Literally, the Python itself is a kind of the open source project. Well, not really for the all of the libraries and all of the possible solutions. But most of them are kind of opened, and most of them are kind of not encoded. As I said, most of them, but there are some of them which are encoded, and we cannot get the plain text sources. Well, I would personally compare the Python scripts with a PHP, because the ideology of running the script is the same. So we can include one file into another file. We can run a script from the top to the bottom, and once the interpreter reach the function's name, it tries to execute the function. Yeah. So here we have a small code. So literally here we have the most of the basics on one of the slides. So the comment starts with this sign. Literally analogy to the C-type programming languages is a double slash. So on the right side of this symbol, we have the comment which doesn't affect the code itself. All variables can be used and are used from the beginning without data types. It's really easy to assign one data type value to the variable and then some another one. For those who know JavaScript, so it happens similarly like in JavaScript. As you can see here, we have one of constructions. Um, or as some people call it, statements. And here we have the if statement. And as you can see here, we have logical operators, which will be written in a form of the words like or, XOR, not, and. So they're just writable by their names, by their textual names. And as you can see, we can forget about the brackets, but if we need them, we can use them. And here we have a pretty interesting case of such instruction blocks. So here we have how it's called, a column, which literally is something like in C-type programming languages, a beginning curly bracket. Yeah, so it's kind of the beginning of the code block. But about the code blocks, how they've been used. And already starting from this example, I'm gonna to copy the code. I'm gonna to show you how we run the Python and so on and so on. Well, first of all, when you install the Python, you are capable to run the Python from whatever place on your computer, if the Python runtimes are placed in path environmental variable. So, what do I mean by that? So if we will be opening, let's say, a terminal or a CMD window, we can type the Python, and as you can see, we're going inside the Python runtimes, and we are capable to run some of the computations. Like we can run a command by the command. Like we can create the x equal to 5, we can print x, let's say, +2, for example, and so on and so on. So advantage of this thing is of this way is that we can just see the result of each command. But the problematic happens when we have to run several lines of codes. And in that case, such approach is not the best choice. So to run a similar several lines commands, we have to make the file with extension of py, And we have to run that like we do opening the null txt files in Notepad, but only with the Python runtimes. Okay, so what I will be doing, um, since I'm having here not really uh, correct way of the path for this folder, because it's kind of shared folder, I will be making a new folder, maybe in my this system particular maybe download section. So it will be maybe something like this, and I will create the txt file. Actually we can choose whatever file template. It doesn't matter at all. I will just call it a.py, and we can open this file in Notepad++. For example, just erasing the full content. Okay, I was just copying the name to search for the student. So we can copy this code and we can put that inside. When you copy something from the PDF, you have, in most of the cases, problem with codes. So you will need to replace them. I suppose that that's totally understandable, all right? Because I suppose it's not the first time you do that. All right. And here we have like a print function without the brackets, which totally fine for the Python syntax number 2, but we're using Python syntax number 3. That's why we will have to put the brackets, like a round type brackets. And now let's talk about the instruction block. Okay, so as I said, the column literally is initiating the instruction block, like we would have the curly bracket in C or JavaScript. Okay, so the biggest question is how Python understands the full instruction block, and idea is pretty simple. Next to the the first of all, all instructions within the construction should have the same beginning on the left side as the construction has. For example, if this if statement um, right here before the I letter has nothing on the left side, then we say there should be nothing even on these lines. If it has some let's say space or couple of spaces, so at least the same should be for all of the instructions within that construction. And in addition, all of such lines, they should have additional similar or let's call it additionally same amount of invisible symbols. For example, a space or two spaces, it doesn't really matter. But since right now this if is not inside some of their instruction blocks, so it should be starting from the left, from the most left side of the text. So without any invisible symbols on the left side. Okay, let's run the code and let's see what we will have. So how to run it? Let's move in the CMD to that exact folder. We can copy the path itself if we like, and in the CMD we can just go for the CD to go to the folder, and then we can give the folders full path like this. And as you see, we can use the dir command to have all of the file list of what we have in the folder. Well, we have two folder references. Also, one dot is the reference for the folder itself. Two dots is the reference for the upper folder in the hierarchy, and we have our a.py as our file. Okay, so we have it. And let's type the Python command and let's say to the Python that we are gonna run a.py. Yeah. So you see, we have the printout. Literally, we have executed the file fully, and we have the output in the terminal. If we will be referencing output somewhere else, then there somewhere else we will have the full output. Like, we can reference the output to the file or to the stream, which can be used somewhere else. All these things are possible. But we are not gonna do that. Um, so that's the idea. Some of you could ask, okay, what if some additional invisible symbol will be attached? So both of the lines, they will have the same beginning as the construction, but additions will be different. Well, such code will not be understood. So let's run the script again. So you see, there is no reason to assume that the line for, well, this line is standing on its position. There's no reason for that. So that's exactly what we see here. And some of you could say, well, we could have one symbol, one invisible symbol, which could be different by the code, but the same by its size, like a 1. What could be an example of this? Well, it could be a space, and it could be the tabulation sign. In my case, tabulation sign has been replaced by a couple of dots. But guys, I will maybe copy the tabulation sign from somewhere else. Then, so it could be something like this. So we have a space and space here, and here we have tabulation sign and space. Some of you could say, well, we have the same invisible symbol amount, but this story will not work, because again, additions are different. So if we will try to run it, okay, it shows as well that we have problems. And once we have the same additions of invisible symbols, like in this case, a space and a tabulation sign, everything should be more or less fine. So you see, everything is being executed. Yeah. So as you can see, it works pretty different from a C-type programming languages, but it's not overcomplicated. And as you understand, guys, the ending of the instruction block doesn't exist as itself. We're just using the same. We're just starting to use, let's say, a different amount of symbols before the instructions. Like here for these two prints, we're using the same offset as we had for the if statement. Yeah. So that's the overall concept about well, on which the whole Python is being based. So the question for you guys: are we good so far? Is everything clear so far? Okay, looks good. So guys, don't be shy to write something in the chat, because I'm not gonna bite you for something incorrectly written. All will be cool. Okay, and we have another student connected. Hello, Greta. So guys, now once again, are we good so far? Maybe you have some questions, because at this point I have a plus only from Edwards. And please keep in mind that if you're not answering, then I have no idea. Can we move on, or maybe we have to stay on some of the topics? So please be more familiar with the chat and be more active. Well, yeah, Edward, they can just put a plus and that would be understood fully. Okay, so which ID we will be using? The ID itself is not really needed. Actually, for example, we can use just a Notepad++ to write the scripts. If you need some exact ID, or you have a questions about them, you can ask, and we can switch without a problem to some another way of writing the codes. Okay. I suppose at this moment we can just move forward. And again, okay, what ID am I using? I'm using a Notepad C++ just to write the code. It's almost the same as the Notepad, but only with additional functionalities. And for example, Rimoldus mentioned Visual Studio Code. Well, it's a pretty cool code editor. So I would say that's really up to you if you're using that one or some other. It doesn't make a difference. Really, it doesn't make any difference. Okay, so here you can see the Notepad++. If some of you would like to get it, you can just hit on the Google icon Notepad++. Yeah, that's exactly the logo of that editor. Yeah, and here you can just grab it. If you like, I can just share, the link. You can use the Copilot. Uh, well, well, you know, I would prefer then so-called Visual Studio Teams. There is such product. At least it existed some few years ago. When you can parallel work on the same code. But again, it depends on the way how you work daily. Okay, let's maybe go back to materials. Okay, well, I suppose here more or less things are clear for us. But what's about some small things we're using daily and we're using all the time, like uh, like um, assigning the values, comparing them, maybe making some arithmetical computations. Well, I would say most of them come from C++. Like for assignment, we just use equal sign. For comparing effect, we're using just equal, right? For the regular operations, we just use the regular operations like a plus, minus, multiplication, division, um, the reminder of the division, and so on and so on. About comparison, sorry, about the logical operators. Well, we already talked that we just write and, or, not, XOR, and so on. And the basic print command comes with brackets for the third syntaxes of the Python. Okay. Um, Maybe we can just scroll this one. About the brackets, we already had a talk. Sometimes we can split a comment into few lines. For that purpose, we can use a slash. But I suppose we won't be using that. At least there will be no necessities for this thing, because most of the things we'll be doing will be pretty simple. And we can create a function Well, the function definition goes in a such way. So we have def for a definition of the function. Nextly, we have the name. Nextly, we have a list of arguments. And as you understand, since we're not using data types, we mention only names of them. And then again, the beginning of the instruction block. And as for, by the way, the ID, specifically, we can write a comment for the function using the triple quotes. Triple quote is additional way how to define text, but for the functions, when such text is defined just after the name on the next line, this will be the comment for the function. So if you're using the Python's ID, then you will see these texts written here once you'll be trying to use the exact function name. And as regularly, all of the instructions placed into instruction block comes with additional invisible symbols. Okay, so what else? Well, as you understand, guys, we cannot use reserved words for any naming purposes, and we're not capable to use something which is against the common sense of the variable naming. We're not using the number before the text. We're not using some special characters for the namings or for the names of variables or whatever, and we're not using the reserved words such as and, break, class, and so on and so on. Well, that's just programming language is common sense, I would say. And the same happens in every other programming language. I really hope you will agree. Okay. Well, the interesting thing is that every operation which we are using, in this case arithmetical operation, has a so-called the left and right sides, right? And in classical programming languages, how we implement this? Well, we say on the left side we have one variable, on the right side we have the value or instruction or maybe equation or some another variable's name to get the value from. And in the Python we can duplicate operations in a way that we can mention two outputs, two inputs, or three or four, and so on and so on. So, which means, for example, the SOAPN algorithm much more easier than previously. And moreover, some of you would say, okay, if here the SOAPN algorithm is being implemented, then how it happens that in the end both variables do not have the same value? And that could be a good question, by the way. And idea is that this equal sign works as the function actually. If you would take a look on the exact implementation of all of the basics of the Python, you'll find out that the right side will be calculated firstly before the accessing to the left side mentioned variables. So which means that firstly value y and x will be saved in the memory, and only then it will be assigned to variables. And literally that mechanism guarantees this swap mechanism. And like in C++, we can use the chained operations, like x equal to 2, then b equal to x, then a equal to b. Well, this is possible in this programming language as well. Okay, and here we have one example of the case that we cannot access the variable when it's not defined. So there could be a question, well, what does it mean for variable to be defined in the Python? Well, idea is pretty simple. where only when we create only when we assign the value to variable, we create the variable itself. So if we'll try to access this y, it won't be possible because y wasn't assigned with the value. And once we assign that, we have the access. So for example, we can open the Python itself. We can try to get the access to, I don't know, triple D variable. So you see we get the error message. And once we assign something to triple D, we can get the access to the triple D, right? So that works in a pretty simple manner. Okay, um, well, what else can be used, and what else is pretty different from other programming languages? Well, we have so-called three types of sequences. Well, the first type of the sequence is pretty known for everyone. It's a character string, right? It's the character array or a character sequence. Regular text, or as we call them, strings, right? And as in every other programming language, we can bind symbols into kind of sequences of characters. So that's what we can call it as the sequence. And the sequence is actually immutable. So it means it's kind of constant value which cannot be modified. And if you would like to modify the value, just assign another value to the variable. That's it. In addition to that, we have a so-called tuples. Well, what the tuple is exactly? The tuple is actually a sequence or an array of elements, and such array cannot be changed. So it's kind of the constant array. And what should be mentioned here? The elements for all of the sequences can be mixed by their data types. And talking about characters sequences, when every element is the character, only then we call that a sequence as the text or as the string. So that's just a specific case of the tuple. Okay, so you can see that here for the tuples we use rounded brackets, right? So that's exactly the way how we can make a definition of the tuple by using just such brackets. Well, for the text, those are quotes, as we understand, like all the time. And there is the third case of the sequence, which is the list. Well, there is no much differences between the tuple and the list. The only difference is that we can make manipulations with the list and we can modify it without any problems at all. Um, okay, so here we have a few examples. So a tuple definition, a list definition, and a text definition. So a tuple definition goes in a such way. I suppose that that's pretty understandable. And if you like, we can even try to use this. The only I suppose we will have problems with, yeah, the apostrophes and the quotes. Um, so maybe first I can just put that somewhere in the text editor, and then I can just modify those symbols. Okay, so we have it. Yeah, so you can see we have the tuple, and we can get an access to that. Well, pretty simple. Well, in the same time, we can have the list, and list goes literally um, with square brackets, you see, and we can get access to that. While at the same time, we can have some texts. Yeah, and we can get the access to each of them, right? And you see in the output we don't have a difference related to borderings of the texts. So it doesn't matter that we use apostrophe or quotes or triple quotes. In the end, it will be just a text. I suppose that that's pretty simple, and that's well, kind of the common sense. Yeah. So about the problematics, yeah. So we can have the access to specific elements by indexes, which is the same for all of the sequence types. So we can have a square brackets for using the index. Sometimes we can call indexes as offsets from the first character, so from the first element. And the indexing starts here from a 0. So this 1 means a second element. So it goes for this ABC, not for the 23. Okay, and we can actually read information from all of the sequences. And what's more interesting? The more interesting thing is that we can use both positive and negative indexes. Well, as those are actually offset, so we can call a negative index as the offset on the left side, and the positive indexes as the offsets for the right side. For example, this -3, what does it mean? So 3 steps from the element 23 on the right. Well, and it goes like in the Pac-Man game. I suppose everyone knows that. So -1 will be def, -2 will be such tuple of 2 elements, 2 and 3. Mm, and the -3 will be this element, 4.56. I suppose this is pretty simple to understand. Okay. There are such programming languages that allows to select and manipulate with the whole regions of data. Well, the Python is one of such languages. Maybe another pretty popular programming language is MATLAB, which makes this exactly in almost the same syntaxes. So. Um, if we have to find out or to manipulate with the region of values, we can say that the region of values or indexes have the beginning and the end. So here, for example, we have a region of indexes, which literally means beginning and end. So beginning is included and the end is excluded. So what does it mean? So such a T1 to 4 means that we are going to have 3 elements with indexes 1, 2, 3. So the index 4 is being excluded from this collection. So we have 1, 2, 3. And some of you would say, okay, if we will be using the negative index, so will we change an order of collection of elements? And the answer will be no, we're not changing that. So again, we have the beginning index, which is 1, and we have ending index, which is -1, and we're not collecting that in going to the left side, right? Like it would be ABC, then it would be 23. No, it's not what's happening. Collection of elements happens always from the beginning till the end of the sequence. Surely for selected indexes. So it will be ABC 4.56 and then tuple of elements 2 and 3. Well, that's how that works. Yeah, and in the cases when we don't know the exact index of the element of the excluded element which we are using, or maybe uh, we have to select original values by the purpose, let's say from the beginning or till the end of the sequence. Then we're just not mentioning the beginning or ending index purposely on the purpose. So for example here, nothing come to, which means from the very beginning we're going till the element index 2 excluding that element. So the result will be this one, 23 and ABC. Or for example, such case where we're starting with the index 2 and we go till the end of the sequence. So it will be 4.56, the tuple, and the text def. Well, that will be the result. Okay, so in a case when we are not using the beginning and ending, then it means that we are selecting all elements. And here we have one trick which you definitely know. I'm more than sure that you know that. But let's overlook two cases. So let's say L1 and L2, they are sequences or texts, because text is a sequence of symbols, and we're making just a regular assignment. So L1 to L2. What does it mean? Well, all sequences are being implemented in most of programming languages and in the Python particularly as the references. So, which means that we'll be just rewriting reference L2 with the address of L1. So, which means that both variables will work with the same memory set because the reference written in them will be the same. So we're losing access to the sequence L2, and by using both of variables, we are working on the region, on the sequence, which initially was referenced to variable L1. Yeah, and when we would like to make the copy of the array, what we will be doing and what we have to be doing? Well, we can assign the sequence without any problem, but here we use the values received from the sequence L1. So which means we're not assigning the reference to the L2, we're assigning values, we're assigning elements, and that makes these two examples different, right? Um, so are we good so far? Is this one is clear for us? Okay. Well, definitely it's pretty hard from the beginning always, and not only related to the Python. The main thing is to remember this principle, but we will use this principle and we will talk about this a lot of times in advance. Okay, and somehow again, no pluses, no minuses in the chat. Okay, just don't be shy, guys. Okay, so we're moving forward then. Okay, well, I really hope this part is clear. So let's move forward. Well, like in any other programming language, there are possibilities to make a fast checks within sequences and within arrays. So, for example, if there is the element in the sequence, like if there is 3 in the sequence T, and the result is false, if there is 4 in the sequence T, well, that gives the result true, right? And for each of such results, which give us true and false, we can always use the negative or the inverse operator not. Actually, theoretically, we can use whatever operator, even that uses a couple of um, operands. Yeah, that would not be the problem. Okay, so we can even find out if the sequence is located in another sequence. For example, especially for text, for example, we're looking for a spatial symbol sequence in another symbol sequence. Well, all this is kind of pretty simple thing. Okay, the plus operator. The plus operator works not only as arithmetical operator, and those of you who know the JavaScript and who is familiar with the JavaScript, they would agree because in the JavaScript we have the similar cases for the plus operator. For example, the plus operator works not only as the summator, but even as concatenator of sequences like texts or arrays, as they are called in the JavaScript. Or like here we have a concatenation of the tuple and concatenation um, of um, of the list. So the question for you guys, well, since we have a tuple immutable, so we cannot change that, how it happens that we can merge two of the tuples? That's the question for you. Just interesting, what would you say? Yes, exactly. So that creates the new tuple. So there's nothing being done with the first or the second. They're being just used. They're being just read, and the third one was just created. Yeah, thank you, Ravens. Okay, so let's move forward. I really hope this part is good for us. And in addition to the summation sign, to the plus, we have a pretty similar working style for the multiplication operator, which literally multiplies sequences. If I'm not mistaken, in JavaScript, there was some similar operator. I don't remember which exactly. Maybe it was multiplication as well. But related to the Python, okay, we can multiply the sequences, whatever type of the sequence, and we'll have the doubled, tripled, and so on sequence. Okay, so again, the two main principles of the sequences when we can edit them or we cannot. In addition, we have spatial functions which are being created especially only for the sequences, like appending the element, inserting the element in the particular position, just moving all other elements after that index for the position of the increased index by one. And there are such interesting, almost looking the same functions like extend and append, which work a bit differently. So we can see we have the array for the extend and we have the array for the append. So what's the difference? So extend assumes that we will be adding all elements in the given array as new elements of the original array, right? For that one from which we are running function extend. And append assumes that we have only one element which will be added. And since that element is the list, right? So it was being just added in the end of the sequence, right? Of the list. So that's why in the first case of the extend, we have three new elements. Then in the case of append, we have one new element, which is the list. That's the idea. Okay. Um, There are possibilities for another specific functions, like finding out if there is the element by its value in the array, and then by the function of the index, we receive the index of the first element of such. Nextly, by the count function, we receive amount of such elements in the list. And by hit and the remove, we are removing the first found out from the left to the right going element by the given value. I suppose all this is pretty simple, and if you're working on arrays in some programming languages, you try to find out the similar functions as well, right? So I suppose it's not something super maybe interesting. And like in whatever other programming language, or almost in whatever other programming language, we have operations for ordering the values. So we can sort them. So they will be sorted in the cascading way, and we have reverse, which literally will sort the values by their values in this cascading way. Um, we can even use a function for the sorting, which literally we can, let's say, compare to elements, and by comparison say if we are gonna swap them. But such functions surely have to be created, and there is the similar possibility in most of the C-type programming languages. As the argument for the sort function. Okay, here are just a couple of interesting ways how sometimes Python can trick us, and we can find out a lot of similar tricks, but in another programming languages like JavaScript, right? So if we write one comma, we'll receive the tuple. If we write the tuple of the same values, we'll get the tuple, literally the identical result. Or when we use the tuple of the value, just the one value, we receive the value itself. So pretty strange way, but anyways. We can make even the empty tuple by just rounded bracket, so we can just use the tuple function. And you can convert a sequence to the tuple using the tuple function. And there is another function which is the list, so you can convert literally a sequence to the list as well. Okay. In the basic installation of Python, you can always find some ideas which you are looking in the similar way. But again, a good question if that's really necessary. Okay, let's maybe scroll a bit, and since we have one of students who is working on the Linux, if I'm not mistaken, it was Ubuntu, right? Or or maybe it was just a Linux. I don't remember which one was named. So you can always run scripts even through sh scripts. I mean the Python script through the sh scripts, and for that purpose, you just need to write executables through which the script will be run itself, right? And you don't have to forget about that the script will be run. So you have to give the running possibilities. So a privilege to run the file, right? So just don't forget about this thing. Okay, here we have a pretty small example of the same case, by the way, because here we have this record, but here we have the code that basically calculates the factorial of the number. Okay, That looks pretty normal, and let's see how that works. Since I'm using Windows, I won't be working with these codes because it's not for my system. So let's pull everything here and um, let's make um, offsets, right? So we have the function for the factorial. It has its comment. Well, if the argument is 0, then we're given back 1. And then, well, what does it mean then? When this return doesn't happen? So then we have the argument multiplied with the result of decreased argument, right? And what we get in the end? In the end, we get couple of printouts. Well, I suppose this one should be erased a bit. Yeah, so we'll have factorial. We will have the range of such um, such values. So idea of this for loop is that we have for in, and as you know from C-type programming languages, that means that we're going by variable through every element of the array. So this range then gives us the array of the values starting with the 0, and overall there will be 9 values. So, sorry, 10 values. So, um, actually, values of them will be from a 0 to 9. Um, yeah, from a 0 to 9, if I'm not mistaken. Well, since we have a different versions, we can, we can just check. Okay, anyways, I will just maybe use this one. Okay, we cannot run this, yeah. Yes, we have to, just put it like this. Or maybe we can make something like this. Just mention a couple of texts, which will be printed out. But again, there are a few modes of the language, so let's hope this will be working. Yes, this will be working. So you see, a 0, in the case of 0, the factorial is 1. In case of 1, it's 1, like 1 multiplied by 1. Here we have 2, then 3, and so on and so on. So as you can see, guys, this thing works. And works without any problems. Okay, I guess this question creates a new tuple. It was about the tuple function. This function, yeah. So that function creates the tuple. Okay, so let's maybe try to use them, tuple and list functions. So we had the tuple. Maybe it was. Okay, we have to go inside. Yeah, inside the Python. Yeah, so as you can see, all variables we used previously, they disappeared. So we will need to implement them from the beginning, like this one. And I will have the list with different values, right? So once I mention those names, I have the output of them, right? 1, 2, 3 is the tuple, and 4, 5, 6 is the list. So I can make a conversion of the tuple to the list, you see, and I receive the same values, but as the list, right? And in addition, I can convert the list to the tuple. So you see, I'm given the list, and it will be converted to the tuple without any changes to the variable itself. So we'll create a tuple from the list, and we'll be outputting that. Yeah. So you see, we converted the list of 4, 5, 6 to the tuple and printed out the result. So that goes pretty simple actually. Okay, let's maybe take a look on some other things. All right. Well, here we have a pretty interesting thing. Which is the usage of the regex. Well, I suppose, and I really feel like the regex should be at least a bit overlooked. Guys, do you have any experience with the regex? Do you know what is it? Okay, one yes, three no. Um, all right, makes sense. We'll take a look on that. Um, have you ever heard, guys, that we can check if something fits the template? I suppose this phrase is kind of understandable, but in the most of the cases, when we try to find out if some text fits the template, what do we do? Um, and this description will be kind of started from the Adam and Eve. So saying, but anyways, let's suppose we have some text. For example, a phone number, right? Um, for example, some some letter and phone number, right? Which has this written form, and I would say, okay, well, I have this as the number, and I have to get if it's written as the number. Well, what can we see? There is plus that then somehow there are three symbols, which well we know that actually is about the country code. Then we have some space, and then we have some numbers. But let's say our template doesn't assume this, and our template, for example, needs to have a plus, a country code, and 8 dates, right? So literally, this text doesn't fit the template, and if we replace, let's say, if we erase that symbol, then okay, that fits the template. So literally, we have to have the template, but templates can be much more complicated than this one which I mentioned. And template and approach or overlooking the text by the template um, can be implemented using the template, which is written in a so-called regex syntax. And that's the name of the templating method. And the templating method is pretty common, and it's been implemented in a lot of programming languages. So we have one of our next materials, as you can see, regex, right? So we have regex examples, but for because it's just um, not really deep materials, but you have to know what is it and that things exist. Where we were? Oh yeah, here. So for the regex, we have to have the library. And maybe you remember I previously said that within the file we can import another file. And when we install the Python, maybe I can show you. In addition, we install even other files, like not only executable but even libraries. Okay, I'm not sure if I can find that. At this moment, maybe I will have Python somewhere here. No. Hmm. Okay, that's a link. Okay, great. Yeah. So here is the installation of the Python, and you can look for the library, and you can find out a lot of Python scripts here. For example, ABC script, right? So if we add that script to our code, we can have the possibilities of the function ABC, right? Okay, and here we have some implementation so of that library. Well, at this point it looks kind of complicated, or maybe I would more say that it's been implemented in the way of the standards, because all these implementations, they have to be written in a similar manner, right? So that's why it looks so. But okay, let's return to our example. So there will be somewhere file RE which will be imported. If you like, we can just take a look if there is RE file. It must be there somewhere. Okay, maybe not in this folder, but somewhere it will be. Or maybe, yeah, there is RE folder, yeah. So since that's the folder, and we for the import mentioned the folder, so it will load everything which is included in this folder. Yeah. So this one is just a regular um, stream for the input, which means that we are capable to give a file as the input, like a txt file. And here we're trying to create the regex. So here we have R before the text, which means that text should be understood as text written in the regex syntax. And here we have some regex codes. Literally, it's about looking for the email, which has symbols and a dot, and then mandatory is to have this at sign, then again texts with possible dots in the end, and in the end there should be from 2 to 4 symbols that basically means a main domain, well, like LV, LT, EU, and others. And here what is happening, we're using so again we're going into for loop, and we're taking arrays, and the array literally is all the textual lines read from the standard input, which means that when we run the script, we have to mention the file which will contain the text and which will have to be working as the input. Well, guys, the same happens for the C++. So those for you who try to use the C++ could do the same without any problems. And then in each iteration of this for, the variable line contains the textual line. And here we use the path variable. So you see the path was here. So literally it was the result of regex compilation. And we applied that regex for the line, and all of them and all of the texts found by such template which was included here will be elements of such functions result, which will be the array. So the address will be each of such email addresses and will be printed out. Well, pretty similar thing. But let's try to implement one. So let's take it, let's copy, and let's put inside the file. Well, I regularly use 2 spaces for the instruction block, but it's only up to me. You can use whatever another combinations of symbols. Okay, so we have the text, sorry, the code, and let's say in the same folder we will create uh, we will create um, we will create the text file, which content will be given to the code to analyze it. And I will open this and I will write something here, like whatever text, and something that looks as the email. Maybe something like this. And let's find out if the script will find these emails. Well, we can even duplicate some of these text lines. Okay, let's see. Let's see what will happen. So the first I have to go out from the Python runtimes, as we understand, and we need to run the Python given the script to run, and we need to give the file as the input. Um, well, this is doable by the following command, and this command actually is the same for all of the systems. If I'm not mistaken, on the Windows, Mac OS, and Linux as well. So we are given the standard input going from the a.txt file. Oh, okay. We have to work on the print function because we're using syntax is number 3, not number 2. Okay, so you see, right? We found out these emails. Well, very simple actually. And maybe there could be another question. Okay, but how to make only unique printouts? Let's say if once the email was found out, how to make it possible not to print out it? Let's see. So an extension of this would be to have a so-called set. Okay, and the question, do we remember what the set was? Maybe from discrete mathematics. What was the definition of the set? What was it? You can write in the chat, guys. What was the set and how the set works? You can just remember how it happens in the math because it uses the same principles. Okay, multiple items in single variable. Yes, we can call it as the sequence. Actually, that's what you mentioned. But what was the main parameter of the set? What was very specific about the set? What makes the set different from the array? Okay, yes, totally correct. Unique items, which means that we can assign only one copy of the value. So it means that we can try to assign multiple times the same element for the set, but in reality, only the first copy will be placed in. And once we try to add the element which already have been assigned to the set, or let's call it already been in the set at the moment of assigning, then that value is not assigned again, is not added again. Okay, I suppose idea is clear. If it's not clear, then let me describe. So we have the set of phones, and you see we try to add every found address into the set. And if the address was already in the set, it won't be added again. And then we go through the set elements, and that set even sorted, right? But it's not mandatory to sort it, and we print all of the addresses we found out. Okay, let's take this code and let's see how it will be working. Okay, looks great. And now let's run it. Okay, maybe I did something wrong here.
Brackets on the print?
Yeah, brackets on the print. Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Ah, no, wait a bit. Non-UTF-8 code. So something incorrectly probably was copied. Okay, yes, the apostrophe, yeah. Well, as you can see, problems copying from the PDF. Yeah. So you can see, guys, we have unique printout of each of the emails found in the text. So you see, there are a lot of small interesting things we can use, right? Okay, so we are somewhere in the end of this presentation, actually. Yeah, so here we have just some examples of the running the script. And the factorial, yeah, so you know the factorial can have a couple of solutions. So here we have a couple of them. Okay, and the next is just trying to make a step by step, but again, the step by step work will not happen because we have to give the full code just at once. So as I said, we are working with py files then. Okay, so I suppose this could be more or less clear. So do we have, guys, any questions so far, or we can maybe move forward to the next material? What would you say? Again, guys, don't be shy. You can write as you feel. If we have some questions, go ahead, write them. If we don't have, just a mention that you're fine, put a plus or whatever, and that will be the sign for me that all is good. Okay, are we going to touch the subject later? Well, about the regex, we'll be just using at some of the cases, but we won't be overlooking that again. Okay, we will have material at this point, in which we will overlook that, but then only the usage. Okay, are we going to learn Django or Flask? We have well, actually, it wasn't planned, but if you need at least to overlook them, I can try to prepare some materials. But again, you need to ask for this. You can say that you really need that. Then I can include this in materials. And yes, you will need to ask questions when you will have them, definitely. And please don't be shy to do that. Okay, so maybe there could be some ideas, or maybe questions about the topics which you'll be overlooking. So here we have regex, we have some examples, we have worked with the GUI. we have steganography, like encoding of information into files, like pictures. Nextly, we have work with the files, how to work with them, how to write TXT files, read them. We will be making data compression with those methods which are used in 7-zip, in WinRAR. Literally, there will be three methods. There will be OP inheritance. There will be certain algorithms. Well, actually, here I have not the full set of things, but at least these things will be 100% in our schedule. So it's not like we will be overlooking only basics. We'll be overlooking how to use that. That's a lot of stuff. Well, I wouldn't say that. That's only related to the time we have, right? Yeah. But if you will need something more, something specific, you can just mention that. Okay, then we have another half an hour, so let's move forward and let's take a look what we have in the regex examples. So I'm closing this one, and I'm opening the regex material. Oh yeah, this one is a cool one, by the way. This one is a really cool one. And I'm gonna open it in the Windows, yeah. Okay, so here we have around 30 tasks, and we have their solutions, which uses the regex. The first of all, as you already know, we're using import RE to use the regex, and we need to find out some texts into another text, right, by the template. Okay, so what do we have? So write a Python app to check that a string contains only a certain set of characters. Okay, well, how to check that, and how that overly works? Oh, wait a bit. There should be one thing more. There should be one thing more. I think maybe that somewhere disappeared. Might be. Maybe I will reload the first file, because there had to be, yeah, there had to be one other material. Okay, give me a second, guys. I will take a look if I have a duplicate of that in another course. Because there had to be theory slides. I'm not really sure where they're gone. Okay, yes, here we have something. Yeah. So about the regex. So as you remember, we have seen couple of interesting codes, right? For example, related to the email, right? So what did we have? We had the following regex code, right? So let's try to get what all this means. Yeah. So what do we have? /D means a digit. Capital D means not a digit. So you have to get that we're using a lowercase and uppercase letter. So the uppercase letter is the opposite of the lowercase letter. So if lowercase d means a digit, then uppercase d means not digit. If lowercase s means a white space, then uppercase S means not a white space. So W means a word character, which could be so what does it mean, a word character? That means um, that means um, that as there is the symbol, which is the part of the sequence of the symbols, which size is more or equal to 2 characters. So it cannot be a single symbol. This lowercase w means we have a symbol next to another symbol. And the uppercase W that means non-word character. So a symbol which is not necessary to be a part of the text. Sorry, a part of the word. And if we have quotes, if we have a dot, then dot means any character. It's something the same like a question mark in SQL, like operator. Something pretty similar, if you know the SQL language. Okay, and looking on the previously overlooked material, we can find that, oh, okay, we have lowercase w. Okay, so we have a symbol which is the part of the text. Okay, this part is kind of understandable for us. Okay, but what about other stuff? Let's take a look. So, we can have additional constructors. Like, okay, we have slash. Okay, we understand the slash and then the symbol which means something, like slash D, slash W, slash S, and others. Nextly, we can have the grouping, and the grouping means that we're using the square brackets, and the square brackets literally means that we can have um, um, well, it's kind of a separating of possible symbols or the templated symbols with the possibility to affect them somehow. And the range of the symbols happens in a such way, using this just a line. So from A to Z by the character map table. So what does this union mean? So when we have one group and another group, so which means that we are mandatory weighting something from the one group, and we are mandatory weighting something from another group. And in the one group, we have symbols from A to E, one symbol. And in the second group, we have a symbol between I and U. In the same time, we can think like this union literally is a kind of multiplication sign according to the numbers. And if that's the way how we are thinking, and actually that's the way how we have to think, then what does it become to? And by the way, here we have these cases like here and here, right? That means that we are waiting for one or another solution. For example, here we have the group where we have A, E, I, O, U, which literally means that we are looking for one of mentioned elements. It could be A, E, I, O, or U. And before them, we have to have a symbol in the region between A and Z. Okay, maybe at this point it looks maybe complicated, but there are even quantifiers which have to be used. So The question mark means that everything before that, it could be a variable. So it could be a group, by the way, or it could be um, a special character like a /d, for example, which means that the x, let's call it just x, like before the quantifier, it can appear only once, or it can not to appear. So if it could be not existent, or it could be existent only once. So the star means that the x appears 0 or more times. Plus means that it appears once or more times. So it should be mandatory at least once. If we use the curly brackets, it means that such text or such X thing should be appearing such and many times. If we have the region like before and like the minimal and the maximal, if we have the n and comma, it means at least n times. If we have n and m, it means amount of times between n and m, including both of them. And here we have few examples like group of A, B, C. So we're looking for A or B or C /D plus. So we are looking for literally for the number, right? Because it so what was a D, right? D was a digit, right? So since we have the plus, it means there should be at least one digit. But it could be 2 digits, 3 digits, or 4 digits in a row, right? Okay, maybe a bit more complicated example, hexadecimal number. Let's see what we got here. We have 0, we have nextly small lowercase x or uppercase case. And we have, as you can see, we're using the brackets, which will be affected by the plus, which means that the content of the bracket should appear at least once. And here we have only the group within which we are going to receive digit from 0 to 9, or a symbol from lowercase a to lowercase f, or a symbol from uppercase a to uppercase f. And another simplified example, group in which we're looking for one symbol from A to F, or from N to S. And guys, question for you: how do you find these examples? Are they complicated for you, or you understood how it's being done? So how do you feel, guys? Okay. Okay, tired. Yeah, it's understandable. It's understandable because in my classes there always a lot of information. But I really hope you will get to it. You will be used to it in the end. Okay, then the question might be, how would you write the number with the mandatory plus in the beginning? There could be such question actually. So how to have it? Let's think about. Oops, where did I have the material? So there could be a symbol, right? Okay, for example, here it could be, let's suppose the group of in which we'll have one symbol, and then we'll have the group in which we would have this part. That's it. Okay, anyways, taking into account what we figure out, let's take a look, guys, with you on our email thing, and let's think how that works. So let's start with the end, right? Where we have amount of such from 2 to 4. So what are they? This is related to this part. So because this quantifier actually quantifies this thing, right? So here we have symbols from lowercase a to lowercase z, or from uppercase a to uppercase z. So it means actually the main domain name, which varies between 2 symbols and 4 symbols. Okay, but how do we know that it should be like, the main domain? Because there is no dot. Let's take a look on the previous part, like this part. So again, we have quantifiers, so at least one of such. And what is it, one of such? It's the line, or a symbol, or a dot. Okay, and the mandatory that there are at least 2 of such, because we have here literally the same the same thing. And we have the @ sign, which has to be there. Like after the @ these things comes. Well, I will just highlight this with the multiplier. Sorry, quantifier. Okay, I suppose this part is pretty understandable. And what happens before this @ sign? Well, and we can see that there should be as many as there could be symbols, which could be a line, which could be a dot, which could be just a regular symbol of the word, right? But before that, there is mandatory to be a line or a word symbol. So which means literally we expecting at least 2 symbols. Wait a bit, there's the multiplier. So at least 1 symbol before the @ sign. And it could not be a point, because point comes here. Yeah. So literally such interesting way how to analyze these things. Okay, maybe we can somehow use such knowledge. Let's say to analyze at least few of these tasks. So what do we have here? Here we have to find out if we have this, if we have symbols used in if the text is written based on the template. So how do we understand this template? How do we have to get this? Well, here we have an interesting approach. Give me a second. I will scroll a bit, please. Okay. Here in most of the cases we have a new symbols which were not included in previous material, which you overlooked. So here we have such symbol, which means the beginning of the text, and there will be a $, which means the end of the text. So Here, idea is the following. So we have from the beginning of the text symbols from A to Z, from A to Z, from 0 to 9. And then we have the point here, but the point here is assumed to be any characters, which means that we have in the text one of these symbols. And if we will try to run the code, the first line will say us that, well, it's true, and the second will say us that it's false. And I suppose that if we will place a kind of maybe A or whatever other symbol on the first position here, most likely this code will show us that, well, we're having the text which is written by the template, but we can try. Okay, I copied that a bit incorrectly. Oh yes, now it's good. Yes, I suppose this is correctly. And let's. Okay, what I did incorrectly? Oh, I didn't import the regex. Import re. Okay, that's good. Yeah, so we have true and we have false. We can try to give some symbol here in the beginning, and let's see if that will give us true. Ah, no, it still gives us false. Okay, but we have compilation. We have searching in the string, and we return not a Boolean value of this. Okay, well, this conversion of Boolean to, well, no, here the string will be an array. So a sequence, better to say. So, and the sequence converted to the Boolean value gives us true when there is at least one non-visible symbol. No, at least one just a symbol, yeah. And it gives us false only in the case when there is when the sequence is empty. It's like the array without any elements or text without any symbols. Okay. The next one, write the Python program that matches the string that has followed by 0 or more B's. So we have A, B star, and question mark. Well, in this case, maybe question mark could be just ignored because it's not really needed. Because what was the question mark? Once or not at all. But we already have the quantifier actually there in the template, and this star already meant like none or more. So question mark is not really needed. But let's see how that will be executed. Okay. Well, we can definitely erase the question mark. Okay, so we found a match, found a match, found a match. Yeah, if we would have the question mark, would it change something? Found the match everywhere. Well, once again, as I said, we already have this case of the none of the found. Okay, we can take a look on the next one. So, write a program that matches things that are followed by one or more these B's. Okay, so again we have A, B plus, then the question mark which won't be working actually, and will be A, B and A, B, C. Well, again, all this will be found because it just been written correctly. Yeah, found the match. And as you can see, even if we will erase that question mark, it will be the same result. Surely, if there would be, let's say, no B at all after A, like this one, or maybe there will be just AC, for example, it would fail. So we can run that and we can see not matched for the first one and the found match for the second one. So yeah, not really complicated, but we have to just well look at what's going on there. Okay, so here we have the case when we have A that's followed by none of the B or one B. Well, in this case, there should be just a question mark, and it will be really correct. Okay, we can take this code, we can put it inside, and where we will get this as the correct answer. Well, let's see. Everywhere. Why? Because here we have AB, here we have AB, here we have AB, and here we have A, and then it could be none of the B, and here it could be AB, and A even without the B would be nice. If there would be no A's, right, then the last one won't be matching the template. We can check if that's really so, and as you can see, the last is not matching. So that's how that works actually. So not really complicated. Okay, we have kind of few minutes left. All right, then I suppose it could be the time for Q&As maybe. I suppose that you guys can overlook all of these examples on your own because you have seen how we did that, right? So yeah, I will just assume that you will overlook all the rest of these examples on your own. At least you have to try to use the Python, try to write some codes. Because if you're not trying, then it's not really good. You just because theory is cool, but it's not cool when it comes just to the theory. You have to try things. Okay, well, guys, before we will finish, do we have any questions? And I would like to remind you that our classes actually had to start today at 5, right? Like we will have on the Wednesday. I understood that this time you would just not add it to the course, right? But on the Wednesday, keep in mind that we are starting at 5. So, guys, if you have any questions, feel free to write. Okay, you didn't know that you have English Moodle. Okay, makes sense. Yes, so as I said from the very beginning, in the end of this course, you have to make a defense of your final project. And the final project, well, actually, idea is super simple. You will just have to come up with the idea, what you can implement with the Python. And then you have to logically use those things which we all will be overlooking during the course, like visual sites, some compressions, working with arrays, saving information to the file. Well, all of this. When it's practical, or when it doesn't fit the idea, then if it doesn't fit the idea, then you won't need to use that. But anyways, we will talk about this probably not on this week, but anyways, you have to try to already think about what you would like to implement. So it's not mandatory to use only stuff we will be going through. If you have some experience, if you already wrote some of your modules, you can use them, not a problem at all. But the thing is that if we will be overlooking, let's say, files, and for the final project, for your final project, it would be logical to use files, and you would say, well, I couldn't do that because we didn't went through the files. That would not be okay because we will be going through the files. That's the overall idea. But again, about those projects, we can talk maybe on November, because maybe right now it's too early to do that. Okay, but there won't be like an exam that we will have to sit in the class and write code for. No, 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 no. You will be making that project on your own at your free time, and then on the defense you will be shown presentation. Nextly, you will be uploading presentation and document with description of the project and the project codes itself. And I will be giving presenter's role to each of the students, and you guys will be showing presentation and will be telling like what you did, how you did, what problems you faced, and so on and so on. Like on the regular presentation, or let's call it defense. Oh, it might happen that you had some study projects. So I would say it's something pretty similar. When you prepare things and then you make a presentations of those things. Oh, not used to defenses. Well, guys, you have to start. Well, you have to start because at some point, after some time, you will have to defend your thesis, right? So you can assume that it's kind of training, a small training of such. But believe me or not, it's not a problem because defenses is pretty, I would say, complicated stuff for IT students. So no one will be laughing and no one will be evaluating some issues during defense itself. So no worries, guys, about this. The main is what's written, that you said about every aspect, and you show the codes, you uploaded the codes, and you uploaded the overall written ID in the written form. So guys, no worries. Do we have some other questions? Maybe some questions related to materials. If you have, you can ask. Okay, I guess that means no. All right. Well, if there are no questions, then okay, let it be so. All right. So at this point, we are finishing the classes today, and definitely I will see you on Wednesday. so at 5 o'clock again. And before that classes, please try to write those codes we have in the regex 2 presentation, well, in the PDF, in your code files, and just try to make your first steps in programming the Python. So yeah, because practice is needed anyways. All right, guys. So thanks everyone for being connected. I really appreciate that you were connected in the end and we could have these classes. And have a nice evening, guys, and see you on Wednesday. Bye-bye.